Hello guys, welcome to this video. So in previous video we have seen a Docker Swarm setup and hosted a simple application in our Docker Swarm cluster. So in this session we can see how to deploy two Node.js application in Docker Swarm cluster and also CI/CD pipeline. So to make this session in a shorter manner, I have done the base setup of Jenkins server in my Docker Manager instance, and I have created two pipelines of our Node.js project and also created an ECR repo for our container image. So this is our ECR repo, and this is our Jenkins server. In server, we have two pipeline setups. So this pipeline setups we have seen in previous video how to create. So now let's go to our project. Here we have a Docker Compose file. So the first line states the version of our Docker Compose file. So the next line is a list of service which are going to deploy. Then my service one is our service name. Inside that we have our image template, and when we run our Jenkins script, this image template name will be replaced with our current image. So next is our ports. So here we have our force port, and here we have our container port. And next is our next network section. So I'll explain this network with an example. So next is our deploy section. So in this section, it says how the service deploys, and so we are going to deploy our service with an one replica, and we have specified the resource limit that the service has to be utilized. Next section is restart policy. It says how and when our service should be restarted. So it restarts our service on failure with a minimum delay of 5 seconds and 3 maximum attempts. So next is our update configuration section. So this section says how to update our service and in what fashion it has to update. So this updates the service in start first fashion, like it starts the service with new image and then it stops the previous image. So next is our environment section. So this environment values will be replaced with our current env file. So here we have our here we mentioned our username and password with some file path name. So the from this path we will read our username and password. So to make our application more secure, we have used this method. So here we have given our secret file names. So the file name of our DB username is DB username and DB password. So the next section is our health section. So it checks our service is healthy or not with interval of 10 seconds and the timeout of 3 seconds. Like after 3 seconds, if the service is not responding, it will count the retry as 1. So next is our retries. So how many retries it has to be? It has go to the failure state. So we have given the retries as 5. So here also we have mentioned our secrets, and here we are given the some line as external colon true. So it states that we have already created this DB username and DB password. And here also we have our network section. So in this section also we have given the line as external colon true, that we have already created our my network. Manager instance, we haven't created secrets of our DB username and DB password, and also we haven't created my network. So now let's go to our instance and create our secrets and networks. So now let's click on connect. So now first we can list all the networks. So for that we have the command as docker network ls. So here we have some network which is created by our default Docker engine. So now let's create our own network with driver as overlay. So the overlay network will be supported for our Swarm type of services. So that we are going to create a network with driver as overlay. So for the command is docker network create driver overlay, and the type of network which we are going to create is our overlay, and we are going to mention it as attachable. So attachable is nothing but when a new service which when you're going to deploy in the same network means we can attach the service to this current network. So we are giving it as attachable. and we are going to name the network as my network. So now let's copy this one. So we have created our network. So now let's see once. So here we have our network which are created now. So now we can create secrets for our username and password. So now first list our secrets. But now currently there is no secrets in our Docker engine. So now let's create a new secret. Docker secret create, and we can give the secret name as db username. So before that we need to give the content. So let's give the content as my db username. So we are going to pass this my db username value to our secret command. So for same we can do for password. So now let's give the content as my db password. So now let's list our secrets. So here we have our secrets which are created now. So these secrets will be saved in our Docker engine. So while we are passing our secret to our Docker Compose file, it copies that secret and it places in our current container. So from that container, it reads our username and password. So for that, we have some script. We have written some scripts. So now let's go to our route route.js, sorry, app.js. So here we have our code, like the path. If the path exists means, then we are going to read that path. Under that path, we are going to read the value and replace in our current env file. So this is how password will be read from our container to our project. So now let's go to our Jenkins and run our script. So for in our Jenkins file, let's see our Jenkins script. So this is our Jenkins file. So this is our list of environments which are going to assign. So we are giving the branch name and we are giving the AWS credential ID, and here we are giving our region, and here we have our uh, repo URL, and we are here we have mentioned our compose file name. So and then Docker file name and the service name which we are going to deploy. So next stage, so this is the stages. So the first stage is our environment variables. So here we are assigning some variables like commit, who has been committed, and git commit ID and author and image and tag and all. So these things and all we have seen in our previous videos. So the new thing which we have implemented is replacing YAML variables. So here we are given the condition that the container image should be replaced with the current image, and here we are given the compose file name. That is our Docker Compose. And the next stage is our deploy to ECS. Sorry, it should be an deploy to Docker Swarm. The deployment command is that docker stack deploy -c is the compose file name, and this is our compose file name. And here we are going to name our service as service name, and we are going to use our ECR repo with our with registry authentication. So at last our workspace will be cleared. So this is how the script runs in our Jenkins file. So now let's go to our pipeline setup. So now let's click on build now. So here we are going to give a manual trigger. So if you are committing a new code means that also will be working now. So for now we are going to click on given build now. So we have seen the new pipeline has been triggered. So now let's get into this and see on console. So here we can see our Jenkins scripts are running now. So let's wait for a while. So now Jenkins file steps are run successfully. So let's do the same for our second pipeline also. So now click on build now. So our pipeline has been triggered. So now let's go to our console. So now second pipeline also finished in a success state. So now let's go to our instance. To connect our Jenkins server port number 8080, and we have hosted our two applications with port number 2173 and 2174. So these ports also we need to specify in our security group. So make sure that we have given that ports in our security group. So now let's go to our instance. So now let's copy our public IP and paste it here. So our first project runs in the port 2173. So now let's click on enter. So here we can see our response from our service one. So for same we can copy and paste it in the separate tab with port number 2174. So here also we can get the response, and this response is from a second microservice. So this is a response from our first microservice. So now let's go to our project and see what are the routes which we have. So in these routes we have health check path, and then default path and hello path and our inter-service microservice call. So now let's copy our first path and paste it here. So here we can see our health check path response, and then if we go to our code means we can see the DB username and password. So in our we have given that DB username as my DB username and password as my DB password. So, but in our if you see your EMV file means it will be as hyphen slash run slash secrets slash DB username. But since we have added a script in our app.js to read our username and password from the given path file, so from that path file, it has read our username and password, and it has been rendered to our output. So here we can see our DB username and password. So for same, we can view our second service also. So here also we can see our DB username and password, which is from our second microservice. So now let's go to our routes. So now let's click copy this hello path and paste it here. So this is a response which you are getting now, and this is a response to our second microservice. So now let's copy this last path and paste it here. So this is our microservice one, but we got a response from our second microservice. So for same we can let's go to our project and let's change our branch as development. So and in development we have some other code. So let's copy this one and paste it here. So actually it should be the path get service one, but I have given in wrong way. So but even though we are getting a response from our first microservice to our second microservice. So here we can see our IAM health check service from one. So but here also we can see our health check service two. So this is how the inter-service API call API occurs now. So now let's go to our code. So here we have given our host name as my service one. So this is a service name which we have given in our compose file. So let's verify once. So here we can see our service file of our first microservice, and this is our second microservice. And here we are given our my service 2, and here we are given as my service 1. So for our second microservice, we have given the first microservice name. So here we can see here. So this IP, this URL is valid within the containers and not to the outside world. So I'll explain with an example. So let's consider four peoples as A, B, C, D. So A and B are connected to a Wi-Fi router, and C and D are connected to their own network. So if A and B wants to transfer a file from one person to another person, and the time taken to transfer file via Wi-Fi router will be faster than transferring via mobile network. In order to reduce our inter-service API calling time, so we have given our instead of giving our public IP, we have given our container host. So this is how we need to configure our inter-service API. So instead of giving a public IP, we need to give our container host and container port. So hope you have learned a lot in this video, and you have learned how to host two microservices in our Docker Swarm cluster, and how to create a network, and how to create secrets, and how to specify our inter-service APIs with with our service name as our host name. And also we have seen our Jenkins setup also, and also we have updated our Jenkins script file also. So in next video, we can see how to host our Docker images in our Kubernetes. So thank you guys. See you in next video.